I grew up in an Italian kitchen, and one of my favorite meal memories is Escarole and Beans. This is a classic Italian soup recipe that was always on rotation in our kitchen, especially during the colder months, because it is so comforting and cozy and nourishing. Plus, it's easy to make, it's quick cooking, and it's affordable. Soul food. I love this recipe so much. I even included it in the Clean and Delicious cookbook because it has now become a staple for my family as well. Now, if you've never worked with escarole before, it is a hearty lettuce that looks a lot like a head of romaine that is technically a part of the chicory family, along with ingredients like endive and radicchio. You're going to see that the leaves towards the bottom are lighter in color, while the leaves towards the top are darker in color. Those lighter leaves are a little bit more mild and tender, and then the darker leaves are a little more bitter. They have a little more bite to them, and they can be a little bit tougher. With that being said, the entire leaf is edible, and they balance each other out really well. I love working with escarole because it's very easy to work with. All you need to do is trim the end off, and then I'm just going to cut this into hearty bite-sized pieces. So I usually do that just by cutting a whole bunch of ribbons. I come across the escarole, and then once that's done, I just run my knife in the opposite direction till I have nice hearty bite-sized pieces. Then you have to make sure that you give your escarole a really good rinse under some cold water. So you just want to get it into a colander or into the basket of a salad spinner and run it under cold water. Get your hands in there to help rotate it and get it moving, because it can have a little bit of grit or sand or dirt in there. So you want to make sure that you get your escarole nice and clean. Now, you don't have to dry escarole to make the soup because it's going to get wet anyway, but I still like to give it a run through my salad spinner just to make sure that there is no little bits or bites of dirt that I may have missed. And then other than the escarole, or as my dad would say, Scarola, the only other ingredients you need are 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, 6 hearty cloves of garlic. I like to just take my knife right over the top, give it a whack, which will help to get that peel right off. And then I just slice them up and then go back and give them a nice fine chop. Now, this may look like a lot of garlic, and that's because it is. I love my escarole and beans with plenty of it. So keep in mind, you could always pull back or add more depending on your personal preference. You also need a pinch of red pepper flakes, 3 cups of a low sodium chicken broth. If you wanted to keep this recipe 100% plant-based, you could swap that chicken broth with some low sodium veggie broth. That would work equally as well. Then I have a half a teaspoon of dried oregano, a 15-ounce can of cannellini beans not drained, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and then some Parmesan cheese. Then to make the escarole and beans, I'm just going to heat the olive oil in a nice large pot over a medium-low heat. Now, personally, I love to make my soups and chilies in a nice heavy Dutch oven like I have here, but really any big pot will get the job done. With that being said, if you are in the market for a really beautiful, nice, heavy, enamel-coated Dutch oven, Lodge makes an amazing pot. It's the one I'm using here for a fraction of the cost of most other brands. So if that's something you want to check out, I'll link it for you down in the description box below. As my oil begins to heat up, I'm going to add to the pot the chopped garlic, a pinch of sea salt, and a little bit of red pepper flake. You can skip the red pepper if you don't like heat, but I like a little kick at the base of this soup. And then I'm just gonna move that around the pot. The goal with the garlic is for it to become fragrant and tender. You don't want it to brown or to burn. If you notice it getting really dark in color, just add a splash of water or broth to the pot and turn the heat down. Once your garlic is right where you want it, tender and fragrant, you're gonna add the escarole into the pot, along with another pinch of sea salt, some black pepper, the dried oregano, and then about a half a cup of the broth. I like to use a pair of tongs to just gently toss this all together. And then I'm gonna pop a lid on and just let this slowly simmer away for just 5 minutes. We just want for that escarole to begin to wilt down. It's gonna become tender and a nice, beautiful, vibrant green. As you can see, I've got the escarole just where we want it. It's nice, vibrant color. It's wilted down a bit. So from here, I'm gonna add my beans to the pot. I have 1 15-ounce can of cannellini beans, which is really just like a soft white bean. And you're gonna notice that I'm gonna put the beans and the starchy liquid from the can into the pot. Most of my recipes, I will rinse and drain my beans, but for this recipe, we want to use that starchy liquid to help thicken the soup. That is the way my parents always did it, and so I like to keep that tradition alive. Plus, it really does add a little extra layer of flavor and texture to the soup. And then finally, I'm just going to add the remaining chicken broth. We'll give this one last stir, and I'm going to turn my heat up just a little bit. I just want this to come to a nice low light boil, like a hearty simmer, and we'll let it go for another 10 to 15 minutes. From here, you might just want to test your soup, see if it needs a little salt, a little pepper. Personally, I love to finish it with a couple tablespoons of grated Parmesan cheese. It adds a nice nutty, salty flavor and a nice creamy texture to the soup as well. This truly is comfort food at its best. It's a 30-minute meal. It's simple, it's delicious, it is so nourishing, and I love to serve it with a little extra Parmesan cheese and some red pepper flakes over the top. Often on a busy weeknight, we will just enjoy it just like this. But if we want to have a larger meal, like a Sunday dinner, I might make some chicken sausage and serve it with some sourdough bread on the side. So simple, so delicious. Soul food, truly soul food. So good. As always, I am excited for you to give this recipe a try. If you enjoy easy, healthy recipes, just like the one I've shared here, make sure to take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and if you want my recipes delivered right to your inbox, go down to the description box below and sign up for my newsletter. It's 100% free, and instead of you having to come to me to look for recipes, I will send them directly to you. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Danny Spies, and I'll see you back here next time with some more clean and deliciousness. Cheers! It smells amazing. So now I'm gonna add it smells amazing. So now into the pan goes, it smells amazing. And so now